Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Rebuild It. This is going to be the first for the channel this week because we're doing an entire series in one episode. So the whole rebuild from the pickup till the price reveal at the end, and it all will be in this episode. So it's going to be a lot of fast-paced stuff and some funny stuff along the way. My good buddy Paul and his wife Diana went and picked up this build for me in Memphis, Tennessee. So thanks a lot, guys, for doing that for me.
Oh yeah.
And let's see what they went to get. Okay, so here the car is after we made it back, or after they made it back from Memphis. And you guys remember my parts car that's been parked there for probably close to a year or more, where we've been stealing parts off of it for different Solstice builds. As you notice, the back of it is completely perfect. It's a red Solstice and the back has not been damaged at all. This is an actual GXP, so the turbo version. It looks like we got a little damage down there from the forklift that I think I can repair on that front bumper. This was bought as a non-runner because there's no key and there was no mileage listed. So we've got a little bit of damage right here and right here on this quarter, which I think we can fix without having to replace the quarter panel. The main damage was hit down low here and tore up the back bumper. We lost this valance that goes right there for the dual exhaust to come out of, and the rear crash bar is smashed. Ooh. So our bumper on our parts car is perfect back there. So, and hopefully the red matches even. So that will go on there, but we will need to find a valance for the back since our parts car is just a single exhaust because it's not a GXP model. And then here's the main damage. It's been in right here on the quarter panel, which I still think we can repair it without having to replace it. The suspension, we'll see a little bit later when we pull that tire off, but I think it's just an upper control arm and a tie rod maybe. And the rest looks good. Okay, so out of all the cars we've ever bought on this channel, this one is probably the most disgusting as far as trash goes.
Really quite disgusting.
Not that the interior is in bad shape, but there's so much junk and trash in here. I've never seen that much in a car before. It's unbelievable. So the first thing we're going to do is get a shop vac and a big trash can and start just taking everything out of here that we can that is not supposed to go in here. Looks like we still have floor mats, and we'll kind of show you if we find anything interesting. One thing that is awesome is that we have the compressor that goes with the Solstice. Those are never ever in these cars. I'm pretty sure that's the one that actually comes with the Solstice when you buy it, but we'll make sure when we open the trunk that it fits in the little spot for it. But for now, let's start cleaning all this out. Alright, so I got all the crud out of it. Now it's time to start cleaning it up. Like there's like paper stuck to the seats from like soda spill or something. I'm sure all that'll clean up. But here's stuff I found. Some tools and a bunch of cigarette lighters, a whole bunch of cords, this very weird pig mask, an actual Solstice manual, which is never found in these, so that's awesome. More cords, a bunch of change, and the GXP, actual GXP mats, so that's awesome. And that must have been what they hit. Toyota Corolla, because that was in there. So even with no key, if you have power, now we have the battery charge, we can open this door and it should show us the mileage on the dash. There it is. 74,292. So that's great. It could be 120, you know.
Well, you know, it could be worse.
I had no idea what the mileage was going to be, so that's awesome. I can handle 74,000. All right, so I've got the new GXP down here by the parts car so that I can be easier to swap stuff around about. So I'm going to try to get this back rear wheel off and figure out exactly what the damage is back there. And whatever it is, we'll take it off of that one and put it on this one. And also, I ran the that old ozone machine in here for like 3 hours yesterday, and it smells way better. I don't smell that cigarette smoke, so those things really do work. It's pretty amazing. We'll see after the heat, you know, warms it up in here if the smell comes back, but pretty amazing. All right, so here's the damage. We've got our broken upper control arm and this bent tie rod. We'll see what else, but that looks like it. So we'll go ahead and get the tie rod off so I can get it to swivel and move around a little bit, and then we'll work on getting the control arm off. I got all that stuff off, and man, that's hard to get off when it's all crammed in there and bound up. But I did find that my shock was also bad. Check that out. The shaft is snapped. Luckily, I've got all that stuff on the parts car, so we'll just switch it over. All right, so there we have it. Everything's back together and straight on the car we're working on. So it's ready to roll off the trailer. Even though I can't start it, I'm gonna hook a winch to it, lift the trailer up, back it off. And all it took was these tools. This car is on the trailer with the steering turned to the left. And I never did check to see if the steering wheel was locked. Remember, I have no key to this thing. And yes, the steering wheel is locked. So I cannot turn the steering at all, so I cannot get it off this trailer. So I'm stuck with it on here until I can get a key, and I can't get a key until Copart gets the title and gets it to me, which who knows how long that could be, because the dealers won't make you a new key without the title. I haven't filmed for several weeks because I've been dealing with the key issue, and I finally got a key from the dealer, GM. So now what we have to do is program it to this car, and we have no key to program this key from. So we have to do it's about a 30-minute procedure, they tell me, to where we put it in the car, turn it on, the little theft light comes on, and we leave it for 10 minutes and do that 3 different times to get this key to program to the car. And I've had the battery charging for a month. I've owned this for over a month, and so I'm just now getting ready to be able to hopefully try to get it started. So let's start programming it and see what it does here. And then when we turn it back on, it should be programmed, hopefully. Okay, so the light went out, so we're going to turn it back off, take the key out. Now, here's the moment of truth, and I just checked the oil, so it does have oil in it. So now we'll put the key back in, make sure it's in neutral, clutch it. Woo! All right, let's see what this weird noises out there. Alright, so whatever that was is not making that terrible noise anymore. I think it's just probably a really dry engine with no oil up in there, so sounds good now. And I don't think there's even any warning lights or anything in here. Nope. All we got's a brake light because I got the brake on. So now I'm gonna try to see if this thing drives. All right, so now that I know it runs and drives, I can start taking stuff apart. Okay, so I am ready to get this thing into the shop, and it has got what I believe to be, and the guys on the Solstice forum, I sent them a video of the sound of this, and the consensus was that it's a timing chain slap. It's not the rhythmic sound, but it's that clacking. So that's the sound I'm gonna try to isolate, and I'm not gonna do it on this video. If you want to see a tutorial on how to deal with this timing chain issue, isolate it and figure out if that's what it is and then fix it, click on the link above. You may notice I went ahead and took this hood off. I've got it laying up over there. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this bumper off. The reason is we've got this lower, this little piece underneath the lower grill is broke down, so I'm gonna have to try to see if I can fix that because all the rest of the bumper is in great shape. I hate to trash the bumper just because of that. So let's go ahead and get it off and see what it looks like. I got the bumper off. I'm gonna go ahead and start tearing off this rear bumper because I'm waiting on parts for this stuff up here. We got to take these back tires off, get the fender liner. I think the fender liner on that side's already off from when we did that repair. We'll take this fender liner off, pop the lid there, and get her taillights out. Just try to get that bumper off so we can finally see what damage it is underneath there. All right, so the bumper is off. This is way worse, like I always say, than I thought. Okay, so here is our rear crash bar. That bottom piece is just smashed to smithereens. I can't believe there's a car that was that low, smashed it that bad. And all this bottom bar here is welded to the frame. And so that whole bar somehow has to be ground off of the frame rails. And to get to the top part is underneath the fiberglass body of the Solstice. And to this point, I've never dealt with having to get the body up off of the frame on a Solstice. I don't know if there's glue in there, if it's just bolted on. So whatever it is, we need to be able to raise this up, enough to be able to get grinders in there or whatever to be able to grind that off of those two rails. All right, so I did a little bit of research, and the way the Pontiac repair manual says to do this repair is to find where the rails bolt into this, which is right around here, and go inside the back area and actually cut a hole out of the fiberglass tub right above where that joint is, and then grind the weld out on the inside here, and then just on the outside all the way around the rest of the way of it, and get it off, and then re-weld the new one in. That's what it says to do. So it's not going to be easy. I guess we'll go ahead and take this cover, the lid off here of the trunk, and just get it out of our way, and then we'll have to take all this carpeting out and all that and find out where we're going to cut. You know, I have the parts car out there, and I was going to take all the stuff off of that and put it on here, but I really don't want to go through that on the other car too to get that crash bar off. So I'm going to see if I can find a crash bar, a new one, that we can just weld on instead of having to do all that grinding on two vehicles. So hopefully I can find one. All right, so I've got the carpet out, lid off, and so I see where I need to cut holes, and that is right here. You see, these are bolts going into that frame rail, and so that's the center of it. And I took some off or out there on the other side just to see if there's any slack. Well, it's like panel bonded to the frame, so there's no moving this. So I have to cut a hole like this, a rectangular hole, so that we can get a grinding wheel in there and try to grind that weld off. So I've got this side cut, and it's pretty good news because I hit it right on the nose where it needed to be, and it looks like it was never welded or the weld broke because I don't see anything I need to grind there. The top of that is no weld, so awesome. So I went and got some really high quality carbide toothed Diablo Sawzall blades. So I'm going to try to just get in here and cut straight up along the edge of this frame rail right here without getting into the plastic or the fiberglass again right here, and just cut this edge off. That'll get rid of one weld. And then I'm going to try to do the same thing on the other side and cut up. And then I'll probably go over to this other side and cut up on this side of it, and then get this whole center section just to get it out of the way. And then we'll see what we need to do to get this bottom piece out of this one. So all right, so I've got this big main part cut out here, and there's what's left of two of my blades, and one is, it's on there is shot too. So it takes 3 full blades to cut through 3 sides of that stuff. It's like a real springy, I don't know what it is, steel, but it finally got through it. So now I got to start. Ooh, it's scary. Now I got to start cutting or grinding. Well, guys, it's been several months since I've worked on this car. I finally got it back in the shop. I've done, I don't know, 3 vehicles since I worked on this last. And so I've got the new rear crash bar found. And so I've got to do a lot of measuring and getting that thing set up to be able to weld back into the frame. Once that's done, this thing will be ready. Since I don't know if you guys got to watch our tutorial on our timing chain issue, but that's all done. The motor's all back together and oil's changed, and this thing runs great. So I'm really happy with the way that turned out. So that's when I decided to get back on the body part of it. And once I get that welded on and I got a little repair to do up on the front bumper, then this thing will be ready to go to Mike. So, and it's just got a few little, like a ding there, and it's bent pretty bad right here. He'll work on. Then it's got a couple dents over here, there, and right there. So once that's done, we'll start putting together all this big pile of stuff over here. We got to make one good rear bumper out of all that. And that shouldn't be too bad. Hopefully all the paint colors match. So I'm gonna go ahead and get going on this and get it all measured and welded up. All right, so that part is done. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Got it all welded back in, and the wiring harness connected back to it, and all the holes lined up with it. I still have one issue I got to work on. See the difference in the way the exhaust sticks out past that. When it was hit, it was that side of the exhaust was knocked in. I pulled it out some, but it still needs to come quite a bit out. So I'll have to work on that. But the next thing I'm going to do is jump back in here, and I got to repair these holes I cut out to get that crash bar out of there. So I'll have to fiberglass those back in. Then we can put our carpet and all that stuff back in and get our hatch lid back on. All right, so I've got these spots repaired in the tub here, and it's mainly just not for looks, of course, because it's just going to be underneath carpet, but it's solid. And so got everything done in there, and we've got this piece put on underneath here. Now it's time to go ahead and get our trunk lid here, or hatch, or whatever you want to call it, and get it installed enough to where we can try to get it lined up, and then we can put our carpet. We've got to put the hatch on because it's got wiring that goes through this hole and hooks up to all this stuff, and I don't want to do that without the carpet in the way, so go ahead and do that. All right, so here we've got our carpet installed. Light reconnected. It just turned off. And there's our rarely found compressor that goes with the car. All my drains are connected. So I'm ready to take this out and get it cleaned up a little bit. And then I'll start on the bumper. Okay, so I got this thing washed, cleaned up pretty good. I think that's the first time I've washed it. I do need to replace these guards on the deck lid. Man, they are disgusting, so that's going to be fun, trying to get those off and find new ones. And I went ahead and got the old bumper that came on this one, the rear bumper, and I took off the spoiler, which was a killer. You can see this under here is all like 3M tape, this whole gigantic wide piece all the way across. And so the only way to get it off, I don't know how you do it and save your bumper, but I got underneath the old bumper that was trash, and I just heated it up really hot with a heat gun and kept prying until it finally came loose. And there's those 6 bolts. So the next thing is to get it installed on this one that came off the parts car. So this one will have to be, I have to replace the valance to make, because the GXP's got dual exhaust, so we got to get rid of that valance and find the other one, which is hard. It's hard to find a valance for a GXP. And I got this Solstice emblem off because the one with the GXP emblem is moved over a little bit. So we'll clean that up and get the new emblem ordered, and then we'll have to drill holes in this for that new spoiler. But as far as I can tell, all the paint matches really well. So this thing is really ready to go to Mike. So I probably am not going to film anymore until I get it back from Mike. Right. So we've got the GXP back from Mike. And if you guys remember what all was tore up, we got this quarter panel all replaced, or not replaced, but repaired. It looks really good. He said the color matched really nice. We got our spoiler for the back bumper repainted. Here's the bumper for the front. We need to get all reassembled. Here's the rear bumper. And here's the side over here that they got repaired. All right, so I've got the Solstice up on some ramps where I can work underneath there. Getting ready to start reassembling the front bumper. And man, I've been working on and off on this project for probably a year. And so I've got stuff strung all over the place. I think this big box here, a giant box for this. If I remember right, that thing was very expensive. So anyway, that's goes up under here. I think that goes on the car before it actually goes on the bumper, but we'll get all this reassembled and then we'll try to figure out how that fits in there. All right, so I've got the front bumper all reassembled, and I think I figured out how this thing connects in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and go underneath and get it all put in to where it's just sticking out like that, and then it will attach to some of these points here. So I'll get in there and get that put in, and then we'll get this front bumper finished. All right, so that's how that piece fits in there. It's all bolted in. So now it's time for the bumper. We'll just put it across there and hope everything lines up. All right, so everything is reassembled on the front bumper, and got these pipes back in. You can see the pipe there going across. So now we need to install the headlights and then check, make sure those work, and then that'll be it on the front. So, and I think this car, it's been so long since I bought it, I think this was one that I bought that I didn't think there was any issues on the front. I think it was all rear end damage and found stuff, so I had to fix it too. So then we will jump on to the back. All right, so now that the front is back together and done, everything works up there, we'll head back here. We've got the back bumper off of the parts car. You guys remember the parts car we had? It's long gone, but I still got the bumper from it. Finally got the dual exhaust valance there, but in order to get that, I had to buy this whole back bumper from GXP that had that, which pretty much made my parts car bumper pointless. So anyway, I didn't have to paint any because the red was the same color, but so I took the valance off of it, and now we're going to install it on this. So first thing to do, I think, is to try to get all, like, just buff out these little things right here so we don't sling compound everywhere. And then we'll make sure that's going to be okay. And then we'll start drilling holes in there and then 3M tape this and bolt this back on. Okay, so I've got this thing buffed out. Here's where our Solstice lettering was. So I can move the other one over here and you won't see any outline of the old one. Now I'm going to work on getting this spoiler installed, which is a little nerve-wracking. We still got a bunch of compound on here because we're going to have to drill some holes through this, but they give us these spots right here. So I'm going to look at the other bumper, the yellow one, and see if those holes are right in the center of those. And if they are, I'm going to drill them through and hope everything lines up. All right, I've got my holes drilled. That was nerve-wracking, like I said. So now we'll see if they line up. All right. So yes, they line up perfecto. So now I'll take that off and put 3M tape all around the edge of this thing where no moisture can get up underneath it. And then we'll get it installed. All right, so our spoiler is installed. Looks good. So now let's get the valance put on. time for the price breakdown. 2007 Solstice GXP. The winning bid from Copart, I believe is where we bought it, $3,250. Fees were $768. The trip, fuel, and things on the trip, $117.36 because it wasn't very far away. Engine repair, so everything that was involved in doing the timing chain, water pump, all that stuff, $1,265.44. Having the key made, $71.19. New tires and mounting, $257.88. Paint, $2,155.22. The valance that I had to buy the whole bumper for, that yellow bumper, $423.05. The crash bar in the back, $172.26. The front bumper parts, just little braces and that big piece that went underneath, $343.48. And then miscellaneous oil change, nuts and bolts, that kind of stuff, $119.37, which came to a total of $8,943.25 for a 07 GXP with, I believe, 74,000, I can't remember exactly, miles on it. You guys let us know what you think down in the comments below. If you think that's a good deal, you know, I don't know, you might have been able to buy one already repaired for that. But so let us know what you think, and then also let us know what you think about how we did this one episode build. Everything, this was probably a year-long process. We've just been filming it kind of in the background as we go and not going so deep in detail, and all put on one video. So let us know if you like that. And thanks for watching this episode, and we'll see you on the next one.
And always remember, don't retire it if you can rebuild it. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in and watching this week's episode of Rebuild It. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any awesome content. Have a good one.